Hello everybody, Wild here. In this episode we will be focusing on creating a ball and learning the PHASER arcade physics system. Firstly, we will create a function just like we did with our paddles that will initialize the ball and set everything up. And then we will have another function that will take care of all of the physics and will make the ball bounce around the world. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is go into the description where I have left a link to an image of a cyan colored ball, and go ahead and put that next to your paddle.png image in your assets folder. And let's go ahead and load that in our preload function. Just hide that. And we can go in our preload function, and just like we did with our paddle, we can go ahead and copy paste that. And the ID is going to be ball, and the path is ball.png in our assets folder. So first of all, we need to make a function that will create our ball, just like we did with our paddle. So let's go ahead and do just that. We can go ahead and say function create ball. I'm going to pass in two parameters or arguments. I'm going to pass in x and y to position our ball. And we can go ahead and create that ball and say game.add.sprite, and we're going to pass in the x and y for the positions, and the key is ball, just like we stated up here in the preload function. Next, we need to set the anchor point of that ball. I have explained anchor points in the last episode, so I won't be explaining them again, except that we are going to be putting it in the middle, just like we did with our paddles. Now we need to actually enable physics on the ball, so we can use the body functions. Say game.physics.arcade.enable, say ball. And now we need to collide world bounds, just so it doesn't go out of the game screen. I've explained this also in the last episode. And now for something new, we are going to set a bounce property. So set to 1-1. So what bounce does is when the ball actually hits a physics body, it will return back with 100% velocity. So I can actually change this. For example, if I want it to go, so it bounces off of something and I want it to go slower when it bounces back. Now it's 0.5 is 50% return speed. So we're just going to put it at 1 so it doesn't actually slow down when it bounces or rebounds back. So this just makes it bounce around the world without actually stopping or slowing down at all. And we'll actually go ahead and return the ball at the end of everything when we actually get to create our ball. So now we need a function that will actually launch our ball, because what we want is the ball to be in the middle, and we want it to go left or right, depends, and we want it to go to the left or right and bounce off of the world and the paddles. So we need to create some variables first of all. Because we need to check, we need some things to check. So we need to check if the ball has launched. So we can say ball launched, and that will just check, that will be a boolean value, which will check if the ball is launched or not. And now we need another variable, and we call it ball velocity, which is just going to be the speed at which a ball will be going at. And now actually let's go ahead and set those variables in the create function. So let's get rid of the vars and just set those, and say ball launch to false, and set the velocity to 400. So that's the speed at which our ball would be going at. So now we need to actually create that function which will launch our ball. So we can go ahead and say function launch ball. Oops. And we need to check if the ball is launched or not. So if the ball is launched, we want to actually reset the ball. So we say ball.x. We'll create the ball later, not now though. We'll set that to game.world.centerx, and ball.y equals game.world.centery. That will just position it in the middle of the screen, and we actually need to make sure that our ball is standing still. So we're going to need to set the velocity to 0. So say body.velocity.set to 0. Oops. Set to 0. So that will just make sure that our ball is standing still and won't have any velocity. And we need to set the ball launched to false, so it's not launched. Now we need to do, so what if it isn't launched? Then we want to actually launch it. So we'll say else ball.body.velocity .x, and we'll set that to minus ball velocity. That means it'll be going to the left. And we can go ahead and do the same thing with the y, except add it. Or just set it to ball velocity. So now we actually need to set ball launched to true. So it actually means it is launched once we call this function. So now we can actually go ahead and create our ball in the create function, just like we did with the paddles, and say ball equals create ball. Game.world.centerx and game.world.centY. Actually, let's go ahead and actually make that variable up here. Don't forget that. And now we need to actually so we want to capture when the player clicks. So when the player clicks, or if the player is using a touchpad device, we want to capture that click or touch. So we can actually go ahead and say game.input.onDown and say add an event. So when the input is down, then add an event, and the first parameter is going to be a function. So what do you want it to do? We want it to launch the ball, and then the next next parameter is the scope. So we're just gonna say this. This is just so it retains scope. It just fixes errors. If you don't have this, it might cause some errors, but it's really not that important. So yeah. Alright, so now we can go into Phoenix and open up our local web server, and once we have that loaded, we should see our ball in the middle of the screen, and once we click, we can see our ball bouncing around. So that was pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to never miss content from my channel, I upload weekly, then please go ahead and subscribe. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments, and until next time, goodbye.